Today's episode of Funhaus is about quitters and is brought to you by Hymns. So thank you, Hymns. We'll talk a little bit about them later. Today I am joined by Blaine.
Hello.
Adam.
Hey.
And James.
Hello.
Man.
So
quitters? We're talking about quitters?
We're talking about quitters. We're talking about Henry Cavill, the quitter.
Yeah.
He quit Superman.
I don't think that's what happened.
Wait, so was it a departure? WB was like, hey, we good, you're gone? Or
I mean, Dan, you tell us, give us the skinny on Henry Cavill.
Well, the skinny is that he's too big for his britches now.
He is
I think,
pretty bald.
essentially, he came to popularity by Superman, through Superman. I don't think
Immortals.
Immortals.
And Count of Monte Cristo.
And
So
Count of
yeah,
Monte Cristo.
so people
cut in Immortals.
people know who he is because of Superman, and he got a cool role as the villain in Mission Impossible, and now he's too big for his britches.
No.
And wants out for Superman.
No.
Yes, that's how it
What are
happened.
you, a WB rep? What I saw was that they were in negotiations for him appearing in, what was it going to be?
Shazam.
Like a
for him
cameo, right?
doing a
Yeah,
cameo in Shazam.
Because they're so desperately trying to connect all the movies.
Yeah, because the DCEU
It's a
is
disaster.
utterly fucked
Yeah.
and just a complete disaster, and they don't know what they're doing.
Dumpster fire, we call it.
And then ultimately, I heard that they decided to just scrap it because Justice League didn't do well enough that they weren't planning on doing any more of that storyline anyway. But they were going to do a Supergirl, which would negate his necessity because Supergirl, again, all they are 4 steps behind Marvel. It was going to be a period piece.
But
Super-
Wonder Woman's a period piece.
No, but like it was going to be like the 90s or whatever, 80s or 90s.
That's what they're doing with
Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But they're going to
I heard I thought it was a scheduling error with Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's why he wouldn't be in Shazam, essentially. They were like, hey, come, pop in on Shazam. And he's like, sorry, I'm hanging out with Tom.
I think that compounded with Ben Affleck apparently just washing his hands of the Batman thing.
Yeah. It seems to me like there's probably a big disaster in the background on all of these movies.
It's chaos.
Affleck wants out. Cavill's now popular, so he's going to drop out. And then I think the whole Supergirl thing was a nice little pivot. They're like, hey, we don't care about Superman. We're going to focus on Supergirl this time.
That's my guess. It was a financial political decision where they were like, you know what, fuck it, Superman isn't important. No one cares about Superman in the DC universe.
Well, honestly, I think the Justice League story, unless they're talking about the fourth world and Darkseid and doing that superpowered stuff, is a lot more interesting without Superman, right?
See, the thing is, the only thing that I was into about this DC universe was Superman.
But was
it's
that
the
because
first
of-
time in the history of DC anything.
Is that because of Henry Cavill
Yes.
or because of Superman?
Well, I
jacked.
was a fan of Man of Steel. I think that rewatching it, you're like, kind of slow, kind of weird themes and stuff. But ultimately, they managed to make a soft, cerebral Superman movie that wasn't entirely that, which was like the Superman Returns was like, why am I watch him sort through all his emotional baggage? And I still stand by the best moment in any superhero movie. Single moment in any superhero movie is in Batman versus Superman when Congress explodes, and then it cuts to Superman sitting there looking down at that where the bomb exploded in the wheelchair, and he's like, "God damn it!"
Ain't that a bitch?
Fucking
Scoot
shit. He's like,
McNairy.
I could, of course, and he like that to me is the most powerful superhero cinematic moment. But I don't know. I think Henry Cavill was dragging the franchise along.
Agreed. So what are they going to do without him? Who do you cast as Superman if you make
So
more
do you think
Superman?
he just completely recast the role, or do they go, you know what, remember when he didn't die at the end of Justice League? He did.
Well,
Remember?
they're probably not going to.
I'm sorry, Batman vs. Superman, he dies.
They're just going to go on. I mean, nothing matters. Remember when Batman showed up in Suicide Squad? I think
Yeah.
we're like, what is it? So that guy who's going to fight Steppenwolf or whatever, lost to a dude in a pink Lamborghini, like.
I don't. Oh, God.
It sounds like WB flipped open a magazine like Variety, and they're like, "Who's big? Who's big? Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Let's do that."
That's the rumor, right? They're going to cast Michael B. Jordan as
That is the
IGN
rumor.
reported on it, right? Which I thought was a joke.
Yeah, there's nothing confirmed about that. I think that's all guesswork and maybe the studio putting that out there to feel what people would say about it.
Yeah, I like Michael B. Jordan in Creed. I think he's fantastic. I thought he was actually not so bad in Fantastic Four. Thought he was. I think he's a good villain. I thought he actually played a good Killmonger.
Yep.
Superman's a tough one because I think Michael B. Jordan has too much personality, And I know that immediately everyone's going to do the thing and go, skin color, skin color. I don't think it fucking matters anymore. I think we've seen the same thing over and over. I say, sure, go crazy. Turn the whole thing on its head. I know everyone lost their shit with James Bond had blonde hair, but I think we're at the point where we've seen the same fucking people typecast as these characters. Like, you know what? Go fucking crazy. As long as the story's good and the character's interesting, go for it. I just don't care anymore.
I was going to say, the actor does not matter to me at all. It's more about the writer, because I think Superman is the hardest hero to write, because he's so fucking boring. Because he's the most powerful person. Like, what conflict can you throw his way?
A green rock.
Yeah, right? Like, it's rough.
It's a tough call, right? Because you want to see him kick ass, but then if he has no obstacle, when the obstacle is the weakness around him that he's surrounded by, it's almost like you have to have Superman be the background. Like, he can't be the main character. It has to be from someone else's perspective to make Superman look larger than life. Because the moment the camera's on him for too long, you have to go through all the tropes of writing a good story. It's the Hollywood machine that we've created. He needs to be sympathetic. He needs to be a hero. We have to suffer with him. These are all things I don't think people want from Superman.
Yeah.
You want him to fly around and kick ass.
Smash stuff.
Unless you do those other things well, which no one really has yet.
If you did a Thor Ragnarok type thing, where now all of a sudden his fight was in space and you had people who could match him, it makes it a bit more interesting. Zod was the closest we got, because
That's a great fucking fight.
Yeah.
It is. Really it's cool. A little jarring at times, but at the very least, yes, it was better than Superman Returns, because instead of him fighting a continent, which was the villain in Superman Returns.
Lift it.
Yeah, it was a fucking planet or a continent made of kryptonite that he could still pick up, so that didn't matter.
He won by trying slightly harder
Yeah.
to lift something.
The Zod fight was at least an even fight, so...
Well, so you brought up Thor Ragnarok. So Thor Ragnarok tapped into a bunch of Jack Kirby's brilliance, right? So that's what they could do with Superman, is do the dark side. Take him to a planet where everyone is just about as strong as he is. Kind of like Thor Ragnarok, where you take away his greatest strength, which is his super strength, and test him in other ways.
I just feel like Superman as a character is not brimming with like comedic, like comedy gold, like Thor, it's a dude that talks like a 17th century guy.
Sure.
There's a lot of fun that you could be had with that, but like Superman's the blandest of the bland.
He doesn't have to be.
I think Thor was kind of bland in Thor 1 and 2. And Taika Waititi upped the comedy in his own special way and actually made Thor interesting.
Well, Taika Waititi kind of saw that what makes Thor bland is surrounding him with people who are like him. So he was always in dramas that had other people doing Shakespeare and stuff. Kenneth Branagh even directed the first one. That's about as modern Shakespeare as you get.
Yeah.
And so I think Taika Waititi was like, well, yeah, so what if we just take that and put him somewhere where no one does that? Where it's whack. What if we put him in a complete science fiction world and then it changes it?
And it did start with Joss Whedon sort of being, there are comedic moments with Thor being so serious, and then having some snark thrown in and bringing him down a little bit. And then throughout the movies, he adopted it, and it sort of culminated with Thor Ragnarok. And then even Infinity War, he still had very funny, good, sharp moments. Like there's the good line of that's a made-up word. All words are made up.
Yeah.
That's good. That's snappy. It goes over your head if you're not paying attention. And it's that's just well-written and well-acted, so that's great. But they built up to that. And that, as we have said time and time again, Marvel builds up to these things. DC literally takes a shotgun and covers their eyes and just starts firing at a wall, and they hope something works. And it never does.
I'm curious what they're going to do with the rest. I mean, they have to finish it out because they got that dog shit Aquaman movie. I'm sorry. It looks bad from the trailer, the Aquaman movie. And then the Wonder Woman movie, which I'm genuinely interested in because I thought the first one was pretty okay. It was
Suicide Squad 2.
Oh, God. And then a fucking Joker movie. Yeah. Did you see the
two Joker?
Have you guys talked about the Joker pictures?
We haven't.
No, really.
Pull those bad boys up because, oh boy, there's just so much to dissect.
Just Google a picture of Joaquin Phoenix.
That's exactly what it is. Long-haired Joaquin Phoenix.
How the fuck do you spell that name?
Joaquin.
Nailed it. Ooh, close.
Yeah, I've a problem spelling Phoenix too.
Yeah.
There he is, the first picture.
This guy.
That's it.
him.
That's it. That's your Joker.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
this
This one's so silly.
That's colorized too. I don't even think those are his original pants.
No.
It's God damn it. I don't even know what to do anymore.
Yeah, I actually really like Joaquin Phoenix.
The feedback
I think is great.
The feedback that they got from the first from the last Joker reveal was, what the fuck? This has got to be a joke. No pun intended. But then it turned out to be the actual thing. Now they're like, well, we'll just show him as a regular guy. But then you're left with nothing. Like, how are they so bad at this?
I don't know.
Is this also like, it looks like it's set in the 70s?
80s,
somewhere around there?
They're trying to make it look like Killing Joke, which is a good comic.
It's about 12 pages long, though.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Batman is almost not in it at all, which is good. It does a Joker origin story, which, take it or leave it. I honestly don't think the Joker needs a origin story.
Not at all.
The mystery, I think, is what is interesting about him, because you don't actually know what's going on in his stuff.
He could be timeless. He could be... I always just kind of... I thought the more interesting thing was with Joker was he just shows up when an opposite appears.
Well,
Batman is all good. Joker is all evil or chaos.
You know, in The Dark Knight, when he gives two different origins for himself and how he got the scars, right?
Yeah.
Movie Details figured it out.
What did they figure out?
They figured out which one was real because in one of them he blinks or something. I don't know.
Like they do a lie detector test.
They figured it out.
But I thought that was the point, was he is a pathological liar.
Movie Details figured it out because they love movies.
I tweeted it, but I had a small theory, and it would require someone to be really thinking ahead and trying to come up with a good retcon. But I assume they would be doing this origin story of this Joker, and then they're misleading us, and they're telling us like, oh, we're doing two different Joker movies, but the movie would culminate with Joaquin Phoenix Joker killing Jared Leto Joker, because you find out that either it's no, I almost said Todd Howard. What's his name? Who's the one?
Todd Phillips.
Jason Todd. Yeah, it's the tattoo Joker is Jason Todd. They do like sort of a Red Hood type thing where he just went insane and did this like super dorky version of the Joker, and Joaquin Phoenix version comes in and let's hope he's good throughout the whole movie, and then he kills shitty Joker or something like that.
I'm buying into that because they showed the Joker, the Robin's armor.
They teased that, right?
Yeah. Well, I heard that they had also cut a cameo from Zack Snyder's son as Robin or something. Am I crazy on that? Like Zack Snyder always puts his son into stuff. He was like the little Leonidas in 300.
Okay.
So they were gonna. I don't know.
I'm so just disconnected now, much like Warner Brothers from their own property. It almost just doesn't matter. I almost rather them just do what the animated movies do and just go like, you know what, everything's a standalone. Don't connect it.
I actually think that they could be successful doing that, just making random Elseworld stories that's like old Superman, old Batman, young Wonder, just whatever the fuck, Wonder Woman versus some random superhero.
I think you do it in like little mini one shots or something like that, where you're like, there could be like a mini trilogy we could do that does a story, but then we do Ninja Batman or something like that. There's so many good versions of those animated features that I think you could do that. And then at that point, it doesn't matter who plays Superman. It could be played by 6 different people, and we're okay with that.
Do you think Warner Brothers could give up, like with Justice League, they started a big Darkseid story, which is the big Superman story. Do you think they could just stop and like give that up after they've already invested many millions of dollars in setting it up?
I mean, they did with like the Dark World universe or whatever. What was it called?
The Dooku?
No, Justice League Dark, right?
No.
You're
Like
talking about the Dooku, right? The Mummy?
Yes.
Oh,
it's like they knew they lost, and they're like, sorry, we were kidding. We're gonna start refresh.
I don't know if they've given up on that really.
Oh fuck!
Really? Have we heard anything about Johnny Depp's Invisible Man or
Angelina Jolie's Bride of Frankenstein?
Oh no, they could still be coming.
Or who's Benicio del Toro's Wolfman? Wait, no.
That would be good.
Javier Bardem, my bad.
Also,
or he's Frankenstein.
Just back to the Henry Cavill thing, I think it's a shame that he got so wasted.
Agreed.
Cavill?
Yeah, because I think he's a fucking great Superman. Like, this is gonna sound cheesy, but especially a post 9/11 Superman. Like you can't do Christopher Reeve anymore.
He can't be that much of a Boy Scout.
What's the reason?
No, but he's just so pure. He's so pure, and
Gotcha.
I don't want to sound like an anarchist or whatever, but like people often cite 9/11 as like, oh shit,
when the world
there
lost
is
its innocence.
horrors in this world
Turning
and
point of the
stuff.
modern world.
It's a big thing, and I feel like it would be disingenuous to be like, here's Superman. He's just going to fly around solving all the world's problems and not looking through dresses. You know, like, I thought Cavill had a great edge to it. I like Man of Steel setting him up as kind of, I don't know really what I am, but I feel compelled to do this thing, and I'm going to try, but in doing so, look how much I fuck up, and like that. He had a good arc that they could have gotten through over the course of 3 movies if they weren't so ready to come, basically. Like, they were like desperate to premature ejaculate and then turned it into Justice League immediately. There could have been a really cool Superman trilogy there.
I thought his best performance was actually in Man of Steel. The moment he, spoiler, I guess.
Took off his shirt?
Oh, man, that's so good. He was like, what, 6% body fat or something? I don't know.
He's bulky. That's why he's so cool.
Oh, man, you should read about his diet, what they did to him. Like, it's crazy.
They got the 300 physical trainer or whatever. I was watching behind the scenes stuff, and he was like, just to get the pump, he was like pushing his arms together.
The guy's name is like Jim Jones or something like that. He like makes him work out on the top of a mountain in Canada or Colorado. It's pretty crazy.
Did we just see that kid's penis?
Yeah, I didn't realize there was a child's dick in this movie.
This movie was made by like crazy Italian people, so yes. But the moment after he snaps Zod's neck, and he has that scream. No. Yeah, which I was like, that I thought was articulated so well, or just conveyed so well that he didn't have to say out loud, I just killed the last of my kind.
Yeah.
The one connection I had to my past that I just discovered I have. I have nothing now, basically.
Well, also, so soon after assuming his role as protector of the Earth, he had to immediately compromise his morals.
Yeah.
But then the problem is that moment gets shit on when
It's
Lois
not
Lane
Superman.
comes running in 3 seconds later, and he's like, "Oh, I feel better because I touched a boob."
Also, it didn't really matter because then they brought Zod back in the next one. Kind of.
Yeah. No, that's
I don't know.
I thought that may have been an accidental moment in that movie, but that's how I read into it because Zod was sort of this tragic villain of he is biologically programmed to kill. And he basically tells him, "You got to kill me. I'm gonna conquer this fucking planet one way or the other because I didn't choose this life. You were lucky. You weren't biological. You didn't have a biological imprint. You were born normal."
Yeah.
Which, as silly as all that opening Krypton stuff was, I thought that was actually kind of a cool little moment.
That was pretty rad.
Oh yeah, but the sci-fi stuff with Russell Crowe was. I would have watched a movie just to that.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing: you don't open a movie like that. We talked about this last week with Predators. Don't open up with a space fight. You don't open up with a distant planet if you're trying to get people into a new franchise. You tease that. You build into that so that there's some lore. There's something there.
Second movie with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I totally agree with the Predator thing because then that was just like we knew too much about the backstory. There was zero mystery. But
I mean, you open up with a goddamn space battle. What the fuck? Like, there's nothing. It's stupid. You can't. You don't give everything away. You don't show the monster right away. You build up to it.
So Dan,
Bad Before Zod.
who?
This is my question to you.
Okay, to ask me a question.
Henry Cavill's out.
Yeah.
No Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Who could be Superman?
James Willems.
No.
Did I fuck up the transition into the Michael B. Jordan talk?
No.
No. So this is how every podcast
I guess
goes.
a lot of people on the internet are saying Michael B. Jordan would be great, and I agree. I like Michael Jordan a lot.
It's more about the writer to me.
I feel like they will get a whole lot of internet hate about that because there's a shitload of racists and horrible people out there. So if Michael B. Jordan is out, who would you cast? Warner Brothers executive behind me.
Oh, us, the collective?
Any of you, yeah.
I feel like I don't know enough youthful actors. Like, it's always got to be an unknown, right?
You can go older.
Henry Cavill wasn't unknown. He had achieved international success with Immortals.
True.
Right, Adam?
He was pretty
The
unknown.
Europeans love him. Him and what's his name? Steven Dorff.
Steven Dorff is a good choice.
Well, no, he was in Immortals. That's the only only connection
Wasn't
I have.
the other guy Dominic? What's his name?
Dominic
The guy
Gleeson?
from Tomb Raider.
West?
Oh, right. Yeah,
And
he was in 300. The guy
The
the guy
Wire?
from The Wire, yeah.
Dominic West.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Immortals?
Maybe.
Immortals is the one where they're all wearing gold armor and they're gods and shit.
And
Okay,
he's ripped, but he's small, which
He
makes
is.
him worse than him as Superman, where he is ripped and big.
I'm doing a small sidebar here. What I love about that director, Tarzan or whatever.
Tarzan
Tarzan.
He fucking hates horses, and I love that about him.
I think he's great. I think he makes really interesting looking movies.
Watch The Cell, and there's the part where He cuts a horse into like 18 pieces. And then the last shot of Immortals is them fighting in heaven and just stabbing a horse. I just remember walking over that movie going like, he fucking hates horses.
Yeah.
Great visual style.
Have you ever seen The Fall?
Oh, is that him?
I have not. Everyone says I should.
It's a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I always get this one mixed up with The Fall.
Well, same guy. I mean, all of his movies look because that's some crazy shit right there.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's a visually fantastic movie.
That's all of his movies. They look cool, but there's no story.
Don't they do the bull?
Well,
that's him right there, isn't it?
Not to get distracted, but this director has said in interviews that he likes to pick horrible scripts to see if he can make good movies.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah, because he did Mirror Mirror as well.
I say, actually, okay, so I have a crazy idea.
Okay.
Hire this director, Tarzan.
Yeah.
And just make a Superman movie look like this, like a moving comic book.
I mean, Zack Snyder is kind of that, though.
Yeah, but he's
not
terrible.
as good at this.
This looks like the same cinematographer from Watchmen. Or whatever.
It probably is.
It's producers of 300, I think.
Came out the same day as Skyrim. That's pretty cool. Young Henry
So
Cavill.
casting
Yeah.
Superman, I don't know.
Well, I don't know of any perfect young men to do this.
Yeah, I'm not keeping up with my young boys.
Yeah. A lot of the guys out there are starting to get old, be in their 40s, which might be a little old for Superman, depending on how they want to go with it.
Well, I don't want to see another Superman origin.
No.
I'll tell you that much. So if they just started a movie in the midst of Superman's kind of shtick, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I say they just keep going. Just pretend like it's the same guy. They don't need to address it or have some, one line about why his face looks different.
What if they did Red Sun?
That'd be really cool.
That's the Russian one, right?
That's the alternate version where Superman lands in Russia or the USSR during the Cold War, and he is raised as like the Soviet poster boy. What if you just do that, and that way you can get away with casting a whole new actor?
That's also alternate dimension Batman, where he's like
Batman cough.
Okay. I thought it was like the dad was Batman or whatever. Am I getting all my
Thomas Wayne? Yeah, that's.
I mean, there is a loop around though. Red Sun technically does exist in the other universe, though, right?
What are you talking about?
Because like the last 5 pages of Red Sun, I'm not going to spoil it.
Oh, okay.
Everyone should read it. But the last 5 pages of
been a
Red Sun
while.
are like what?
Oh.
But what about this? Is obscure. I don't even know the actor's name. In Spartacus season 2, Gods of the Arena.
Okay.
Or whatever it's called. There's a dude with long hair, a sexy dude with long hair.
Okay.
He's kind of got the chiseled look of Superman.
Sure. I will just.
Or Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler, he could be a good villain.
You know who's actually not a bad Superman, and he already plays Superman on the show Supergirl, but that guy who plays Superman on Supergirl.
Is he okay? Because they released pictures of him, and he looked like he was 135 pounds, and it made me really angry.
No, he's.
Is he big?
Some new trailer came out, and he actually looks pretty good. I'm basing it entirely on looks and not acting.
What character he plays?
Barry Duffield it is. The guy who plays Lugo.
Yeah, you have to start by season.
This is season 2, I think.
What if we gave the fans what they wanted?
what do they want?
Nick Cage. We already have photo evidence that it works.
Liam McIntyre isn't the guy, but he's also pretty Superman-y.
We talked about this earlier, but like going with an older Superman would be kind of cool, like an old butch
Ben Affleck, maybe?
Oh,
I was thinking John Hamm.
John Hamm, fuck yeah.
Kind of looks like Superman. I also just watched Beirut on the airplane, which is a pretty cool little spy thriller.
Yeah.
But he's got the look, at least, I think.
But
And
he's
like
so
the big
goofy.
jaw. He's old. Well, he's good at comedy.
But yeah, but he's goofy.
Typically, though,
Not in Mad Men.
So typically, when they cast a Superman, this is sort of the other thing. It's usually a unknown actor or a low profile actor.
Except
for Henry Cavill, who is super well known from the international hit The Immortals. They did that with Brandon Routh, probably because Bryan Singer wanted to get him some, but I think because they want people to just see that person as Superman. They don't want to think, oh, it's Ben Affleck, who usually plays Batman. Now he's Superman. It's a strange role that it comes with a lot of baggage. Oh, God.
But you would think the same thing about Batman, except it's not the case. Batman is the opposite. They constantly cast people you know.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Like Val
Bale.
Kilmer, George Clooney. I mean, again, not great examples, but Jesus Christ.
My hero.
But like Christian Bale wasn't relatively known, but he had been an actor for 2 decades by the time they
like a
put him in
child
this.
actor,
Yeah, and then
Empire of the
and
Sun.
then Ben Affleck followed him, who has way more prestige as Ben Affleck.
What about Guy Pearce as an older Superman? This is sexy Superman.
This is really old, but you guys saw the pictures of like the old Justice League. What was it?
The George Miller one?
Yeah.
Didn't get made?
Who was Armie Hammer?
He was going to be Batman, but Armie Hammer could work.
I think Green Lantern and Armie Hammer would be Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Like he'd be a good.
But what about
Hal
Tom Cruise? Isn't Tom Cruise supposed to play Green Lantern?
Is that happening
That
now?
was casting news or rumors with the.
I think that was back when George Miller was.
We already
trying
have
to
a
make
pretty cool Green Lantern movie coming out. It's called Captain Marvel.
Nah, he's way too pretty
blonde.
boy.
Nah.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about the guy who played Chad Radwell from Scream Queens?
He's not bad.
What?
Search for Chad Radwell.
He's not bad. He's been getting more work.
guy?
This dude.
Jesus.
Yeah.
This dude's awesome, by the way. He's great in every fucking thing he's in. He plays an
a little bit
astronaut
goofy.
in the movie about the space women.
Let's find out his name.
It looks doofy as hell.
Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures. Thank
Wow.
you.
How did I know that? Good for me.
He's cool. He should be in something. I don't
Man.
care what.
I don't know. This
Actually,
is.
don't care.
I'm curious what listeners and viewers have to say, but like my takeaway is, I don't think anyone known
Yeah.
should play Superman. I think it should be an unknown actor, and I honestly think they should just go older with it and stop trying to emulate. I don't think they need to go young and hot. I think that's over. I think we need grizzled. I like grizzled, and I think you pull the focus away from Superman. I think you make him this larger than life thing. I think it's more about, can you make an interesting story that takes place in a world where a Superman exists?
He'd have
Do
to,
that first.
He'd have to lose his accent and cut his hair, but Drew McIntyre.
Whom?
Drew McIntyre?
What?
James wants to cast wrestlers.
Professional
Whatever happened is The Rock as Black Adam. Is he going to be?
He could be Superman too.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is he going to be in the Shazam movie? Because that's Black Adam Shazam's villain.
Yeah. At some point, then it became his own movie. I think.
So-
but he's not the villain in this Shazam, unless it's like a secret.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know about this dude.
I want to be just a fly on the wall at one of those Warner Brothers meetings. They're like, "Get out of here, Rock! You'll never play Black Adam. You're dead to me. You're dead." 2 minutes later, they call on the phone. "Hey, so when do you want to start filming this movie?" "Fuck you!" And it's like, what is happening? Sounds just like you're in an abusive relationship. Man, look at this.
Actually, no. He should
This
play.
guy looks a little
What's
doofy.
the biker, space biker?
Lobo.
Lobo, yeah.
Lobo. Yeah. Look at that.
Which that's what they should do. They need to make weird little movies.
That'd be the Thor Ragnarok.
yeah.
So fucking cool.
Lobo.
I don't know. His face is scrunched.
Why does he always smell like? He looks like he smelled
Yeah.
a butthole or something.
He
Just,
did.
like, very recently.
I like wrestlers that I can smell through a monitor.
Like almost all wrestlers.
yeah.
What would John Cena play? Like if we just kept getting bigger and bigger with the superhero
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
John Cena could be like, I don't know, who's the dead guy, Solomon Grundy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Solved
That-
it.
that's-
Look, it even has his logo.
Wait.
It's the Invisible Man.
He's all of them.
Can't see him.
Here's the problem with John Cena. He's too funny to play anything serious. I think he's utterly wasted not doing comedy. He was the funniest
about
thing
in the Marine?
Trainwreck.
Hey, quick
he's the
question for you
funniest.
guys. How many Marine movies do you think there are?
The fact that you're asking me that question,
I'm giving you that. That's a freebie.
You've given away that there's more than one.
Yeah.
I knew there was one Marine film.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna. Do they all star John Cena?
No.
Okay. 3.
I already saw the number 4,
Oh,
so I'm
God damn it.
out.
Sorry.
So, yeah.
That's not true. It's 6.
What? Google's wrong?
6
there
is
prequels?
coming out in like November.
What happened to 5?
Do they all have Cena in them?
No.
Is it the
They
same
star the
guy?
Miz, dog.
But is it the same character? This is his ongoing.
No, it's a different
cinematic-
Marine.
Did you ever see that WWE movie called The Condemned?
I never saw it. No, I actually desperately avoided every single WWE film that came out for the
It's-
most part.
It's actually, as I recall, not terrible. but
That's
it-
the one where it's no escape, right?
It's a battle royale
yeah.
type. Like, yeah, they drop him on an island
Miz
years
could be
before
Superman.
PUBG.
Yeah, who should The Miz be? What superhero is The Miz?
The Miz needs to be the Flash.
Wouldn't the WWE want their wrestlers
Booster
to
Gold?
not become superheroes because then they just leave and have
It
their
raises
lives?
the profile. I'm sure
WWE.
they're very happy about Batista being in Guardians of the Galaxy.
True.
For now.
For now. He keeps complaining about Disney.
I mean, hey,
James
he's
Gunn.
doing what the rest are too afraid to do. He speaks for us, the little people.
Yeah, it's true.
So I guess essentially we don't have any great ideas as to who should
We're
be
not
Superman.
casting directors.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I think
Finding an unknown, I guess, is probably a good idea. Some big jacked guy that's pretty that no one.
Larry Wheels. Search for Larry Wheels.
is that a man in a wheelchair?
He's not a wrestler.
Oh,
Did-
paraplegic.
Is it Brad Bird doing Batman? Who's doing the Batman movie?
No, who knows?
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. Why do I say Brad Bird? I don't even know who that is.
There you
That
go.
dude's pretty huge.
There you go.
boy.
Superman.
So how do you get steroids? I'm just wondering. Like, do you order them in the mail now, or do you have to like smuggle them from Mexico?
I think your manager provides them for you.
Damn it! That I've told that to Jess in confidence. I said my dream is to be cast in a movie or something where they're like, you will play this villain. Your role you have 7 months to get ripped, and then I'd go. I have to do steroids.
The problem
Because right now I
is-
have no need to because I'm on a comedy channel.
The problem is you get jacked, but you wouldn't memorize your lines.
Oh, no.
Does that happen?
I don't know.
Oh, because I can't
Oh, well.
memorize my lines. Is that a rip on me? I don't know. Should I do steroids?
No, I'm just saying you would get so distracted doing
Oh.
steroids and getting ripped that you would forget to memorize. I'm just comparing the two aspects of
Not a
acting
bad
prep.
consolation prize.
Okay.
That's fine. I will miss, as much as I didn't like any of the Zack Snyder verse, I will miss the little touches. I do see people like sort of waxing poetic now that the time is gone, but in Batman vs. Superman, the scene makes no fucking sense, but when he breaks into the warehouse and beats the shit out of the guys, there's a moment where a dude does just put a gun up to his head and shoot him.
Oh yeah,
And I was like,
he shoots him like twice too.
Yeah.
That guy's the best thug in the whole DC universe.
and like typically in video games and in movies, I fucking hate it when we saw this in Predator. The guy has a gun and he waits for Predator to come up to him so Predator can hit him. When you have a gun,
They always like run up to the guy with their guns drawn.
yeah, and people take their turns to fight. And I was like, you know what? At least you showed that when Batman had his head turned, he got shot in the head.
to his skull.
But because Batman's fucking awesome and has some nano fiber weave on his helmet, he could survive it. But he was still probably like, God damn it!
Yeah, it makes you like Batman more because it's like, oh shit, yeah, he totally saw that coming.
Yeah.
Bless the Nolanverse, because I mean, it's like, Dark Knight, still one of the fucking best Batman movies ever.
Yeah.
Dog shit fight scenes. If they could just combine Nolan's storytelling with these fight scenes, because those were rough. Like,
Yeah.
They don't
choreography.
hold up very well. The first one, it's just all close-ups, so it's hard to follow.
It's the Bourne style of fast cuts. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It looks like action.
And then the second one, I'm trying to remember if there were that many. There weren't really that many fight scenes because it's the Joker.
I mean, there's
even-
one point where dogs are running at him, and you're like, something, and you see Batman doing this. And
even the bit in the bank robbery in the beginning, the guy getting hit by the bus, the dude, it was a forced perspective shot where the guy was obviously like 10 feet away from the bus, and he just flies away.
I mean, like, this is so cartoony and strange and weird, and
Yeah.
I wish there could be at some point, someone will figure it out and they'll combine the realistic nature of the Nolan movies with the cartoonish violence of like the Snyder stuff, but like. Just hire like a Freddie Wong type or something. Just have him on set for a day and go,
Yeah.
hey, choreograph this fight. What would Batman do in this situation? Model after some Frank Miller stuff, sure, but
it's so good.
Pull out the blades.
I even like that they showed the guys emptying their clips to show that's why they pulled out their knives.
Yeah.
God, this fight scene was fucking dope.
Yeah.
The only forgiving moment in this whole movie.
It also
was really
it happened at a bad time too. Like this should have been towards the beginning of the movie. It was weird that this kind of like popped in at the end.
yeah, that was actually another moment. I remember the very opening is it's just Batman in like a
Yeah.
what is he? He's like in some bunch of women were getting.
Shoots it twice in the back of the head. It's so good. That guy gets stuck of the year.
Yeah, and just how pissed Batman looks when
Yeah.
he does it. It's
Yeah.
like, hey.
Oh, spits flying everywhere.
So I will miss this.
Yeah.
But that's really it.
Zack Snyder read comics a lot. He clearly studied comics, and he was really good about. Honestly, I'm going to say this: he was true to them because a lot of comics have shitty writing.
I still think that Watchmen's like Mwah, chef's kiss.
The extended edition.
You excited about the TV show?
Oh, HBO's doing that, huh?
Damon Lindelof, though.
I'll watch it. Sure.
I think he's okay.
He's okay.
People say he can finish stuff after the leftovers. People seem to like that. So now I trust him again until he screws up.
Yeah. Anywho, but yeah, sorry, audience. We can't decide.
No one knows who should be Superman.
Maybe nobody.
That guy right there.
Yeah. Congratulations, you're new Superman.
Yeah.
Remember, everyone was like, Batman wouldn't do that, and then they showed the panel of Batman doing that and laughing.
It was more about him just murderously killing people in crazy ways, which I was like, yeah, that is a little weird. Then I don't know. I care less now because of everything else. I was like, I'm more concerned about these overall movies being good and then trying to copy someone else who's doing it way better. So now I'm just sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, if Batman killed 35 people and they were innocent, I'd be okay with that if the Justice League movies were good. If they validated it in some way. But it just seems to be violence for the sake of violence. Like, this whole scene was, they're holding Superman's mom in a warehouse for no reason.
Yeah.
Other than for Batman to go in there and kick ass.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well.
Excuse for a fight scene.
Yep.
You tried.
Good fight scene, though.
It's a great fight scene. Well choreographed.
He looked like a big boy. Look at that.
All right.
We'll miss you, Ben.
Bye, Ben.
Godspeed.
So there's a problem out there facing young men that can weigh heavily on your happiness and well-being. Our perception of masculinity is tied up in sexual performance, and sexual performance issues are more common than you think. Over 25% of new ED cases are guys under 40. 40% of men by the age of 40 struggle from not being able to get and maintain an erection. Why do guys turn to weird solutions or do nothing at all when they can instead turn to medicine and science? The solution to this problem is forhims.com, a one-stop shop for sexual wellness for men. Hims has a pretty rad slogan, hard made easy.
It's nice.
It's pretty sweet. Thanks to science, ED can be optional. Hims connects you to doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat erectile dysfunction. These aren't snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements, rhino horns or elephant tusks or anything weird like that. These are prescription solutions backed by actual science. So one of the things they offer is the ability to do this online. If you're too afraid to speak to a person about it, which you shouldn't be, you should go and talk to your doctor. And cover this with them. Even if you don't get the pills through them, they will be able to give you actual medical advice and talk to you about your personal physique or your own physical issues before going to this. But if you do want to do it online, you can chat to a doctor at forhims.com, answer a few questions. It's a little confidential interview and review with an actual doctor online, and talk to them about your needs and what you're hoping to get from solving your ED issues, and they will be able to help you out. And one of the cool things is that they will ship directly to your door, no problems. It's pretty discreet, comes right to your home. But again, I think you should consult a doctor first if this is one of your issues. And it is a thing that haunts young guys, and I think is something that people ignore or pretend like isn't an issue, or maybe would go and buy something at the 7-Eleven, which is kind of gross and scary. Go see a doctor. Hims can help you out. Being your best means performing your best in all aspects of your life. It's erectile without dysfunction. It's hard made easy. Try Hims for a month today for just $5. We'll get you started for just $5 while supplies last. See the website for full details. This would cost $100 if you went to an actual doctor or pharmacy. So go to forhims.com/filmhouseed. That's forhims.com/filmhaused. So thank you to Hims for sponsoring this episode of Filmhouse. So it's time to talk about another quitter in the world of film, and that's Danny Boyle, who just 3 months before supposedly shooting Bond 25 quit abruptly due to creative differences. There's a few thoughts on what he might have done or what might have been those creative differences.
Oh, like what?
Let's see.
It's got to be a continuation of Spectre, right?
I thought he wanted to kill Bond. I thought he and Daniel Craig were like, let's kill him off. And he was like, that sounds like a great idea. And they,
and they punched each
And the
other.
studio was like, you can't do that. And he was like, stop me.
Can you imagine?
It's actually the other way around. I believe the producers and lots of people wanted to kill Bond, and he was kind of against it.
Oh, really?
But so there it has been reported both ways, and the studio with this departure, they're being a little quiet about what happened. But so that is one of the prevailing thoughts is that people wanted to kill Bond, and then someone else disagreed. The two other big issues were the script. So when Danny Boyle came on board, he and his buddy John Hodge, that he writes a lot of his screenplays with, scrapped the story that the veteran Bond writers had written and started doing their own thing, which also included casting a no-name like Danish guy as the villain. Which both Daniel Craig and the producers disagreed with. So, these are creative differences. If they don't like your script, you don't like their script, you like this cool guy to be a weird, different kind of a villain, and no one else does. So he left. And honestly, I think Danny Boyle, while an interesting pick, his style isn't exactly Bond-like.
What would you call his style, though? Because it changes film to film.
Yeah.
It's hyperactive and choppy. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I like Danny Boyle a lot.
I mean, you've seen Sunshine, right?
Yeah.
That's not very. It's not. That's like
true.
That's a kind of a slower movie because it's sci-fi, but it picks up obviously, but I don't know.
What was the last movie Danny Boyle made?
Trance maybe?
Trainspotting 2?
Oh yeah.
This will definitely be Craig's last, and I think something that they've never done in the Bond movies in the past is addressed Bond's departure. So do you think that they're actually going to be like, hey, we're sunsetting Daniel Craig, like, do you think they're going to have a story like element to him leaving?
I hope
I don't
not.
think
No?
they need to address it. There is that fan theory that they keep dying and they keep replacing them.
They're wrong.
It's like a code name, James Bond.
Yeah, it's a code name. 007 and James Bond are a pseudonym that you take on.
But even the movies within their own actors' universe rarely have any continuity. Only when it's like obvious continuity, like Quantum of Solace, right?
Yeah.
That was the first one that was like a real sequel, right?
Well, there's the one that played Bond's like ally, and then he turned up being Blofeld or something back in was it Connery or Roger Moore days?
Sure.
Just a bunch of weird shit.
But then
like
there's
that.
also, Spectre has been a thing that's been in the octopus evil. So like, there's always things, but how many people are like, better keep that continuity going. I'm going to be upset if you don't keep the story. Like, they could all be their own standalone movie, and they're fine. People seem pretty fine. Especially, I think I'm sitting between the two biggest Bond fans I know, James and Blaine.
His parents named him after Bond.
That's not true
how
at
big
all.
fans they were.
Some say it's the other way around.
Named you after the gardener. The real father.
I hope that they don't make a big deal out of it.
Him leaving?
Yeah. I when Spectre ended, I was like, I hope they make another one. Because it seemed like they were saying, like, goodbye, Bond. And I hate that because you don't need to play into that with Bond. You just keep going.
Well,
you don't have to address it. That's one of the great things about the series.
Yeah, I think that's one of the strengths of James Bond is it just keeps going. Now, I do kind of agree with people that have said that Daniel Craig, this world of Bond is kind of, it's not really relevant anymore. He came back in the gritty time, and it was a after the 90s, and everything was like colorful and Die Another Day and Madonna and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, let's make it gritty and like hard again, kind of in response to Jason Bourne.
Sure.
But he's also kind of an asshole. And I think there's room now. I think there's been enough time where we can get back to a more fun
Slick
Bond
and
and
fun.
find something in between,
Well, I think that's what
Henry Cavill as Bond, maybe.
he would be a great Bond. I think at the end of Spectre, they started to get more towards that.
They did.
With this, maybe silly might not be the exact right word, but the action.
Comical.
So yeah, it started to get a little bit more over the top, a little bit less tied to reality, which is what Casino Royale seemed to do for the series.
So I mean, I like Spectre. I haven't watched it as much as I've probably watched most other Bond movies, but I liked it when I watched it. There's one moment where I didn't like where he was losing his mind in the chair, and then she was like, "I love you," and he was like, "What?" I'm like, she could have just been like, "If you get out of this, I will blow you," and he'd be like, "What?" and that'd be a more Bond moment.
That's the one too where the love interest is the daughter of a guy he killed.
Yeah, she's like 40 years younger than him. It's just like, it's weird it doesn't make sense that this is what would win over his. Vesper Lind, this hard-ass chick who plays by her own rules and even keeps things from him and stuff, like, that makes sense that she would get in Bond's head. It's like, grr! Like, but it didn't make that sense that Leah Seydoux, or whatever her name is, got into it. But there is a moment right after that where it turns into old Bond, which I appreciated. Mm-hmm. Where if you notice, after he comes out of that complex, Blofeld's complex at the end, he starts picking off dudes from like a mile and a half away with a pistol with one shot. And I'm like, oh, he's never done this in any of the other movies leading up to this. It's all like firefights and parkour and tackling and like getting hit in the nuts. But then I was like, oh, they're switching it into a new Bond thing. And then the rest of the movie at the end, I was like, oh, they're transitioning. You never see Bond movies within the movie transition from like serious Bond to cheeseball Bond. Mm-hmm. And so I was excited to see what Daniel Craig would do in a cheeseball Bond.
Is this all, I mean, the story that they end up with Blofeld and then like the potential like wife or love interest or whatever, isn't that a callback to, is it On Her Majesty's Secret Service or For Your Eyes Only? Because like in the next one, I mean, she's going to die, right? And
that's what I thought.
Well, that happened at the beginning of one of those Bond movies, where Blofeld killed
at the end of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Yeah.
He's getting revenge. He dunks.
Well,
Blofeld
that's at the end of. He gets in relationship with a woman, marries her, and then at the very end of the movie, they're like driving together, and then Blofeld pulls up and then just guns her down, and then she dies, and the movie ends. And then they didn't bring back
the Australian model, whatever the fuck his name is.
Is it Dalton? No.
I don't think it matters. It's okay, guys.
Either way, and then they were like,
I'm still invested.
Then he was like, I don't want to do it anymore, and George Lazenby.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And then Sean Connery was like, well, if you pay me $1 billion, I'll do it. So then he came back to do Diamonds Are Forever, and it picks up immediately where that movie left off, but with now him in the role. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's going all around the world, like chasing down Blofeld in the opening to Diamonds Are Forever.
Gotcha. And that was sort of mirrored with Quantum of Solace, right? Where it picks up right after.
Oh,
kind of, yeah.
Seconds after.
Except that movie hit when the writer's strike did, so.
Yeah, I remember Daniel Craig being quoted as saying, you have a problem when you have me helping write the script for a movie.
Yeah.
Woof.
So the news is that they've actually replaced stupid Danny Boyle.
Oh, how dare you!
I was excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. I think it would have been fun. But they the first time an American has directed a Bond movie,
that's the first
Cary Fukunaga. You would know him from True Detective. He directed and wrote a lot of the first season with whatever his name.
His people.
Anyway, Beasts of No Nation. He's got a new Netflix show called Maniac.
Oh, yeah, I'm interested in that. That's the Jonah Hill, Emma Stone one.
Yeah. He was actually also writing and directing It before leaving that movie for creative differences as well. But he, at least what I think of the guy is he makes beautiful images. And I think a lot of that kind of sleek, slick imagery is exactly what this new Bond has been going towards. Mm-hmm. So I think it'll look beautiful. Mm-hmm. At least, and I think that's one of the things I most want from a Bond, or one of the things I enjoy about these new Bonds is just how good they. See, this is when the series started to slip.
What? Spectre?
Yeah, this shit.
Oh, it's a total Bond moment, though.
But
yes. But
if you watch the movie, it travels through the history of Bond. They do the snow escapes from whatever For Your Eyes Only, and then it also has a train battle with him in a white suit
from Russia with Love.
From Russia with Love and Live and Let Die. Like it goes through everything again, which that's why I liked about Spectre.
Well,
I hope Batista comes back.
From what I understand too.
He's so cool.
Skyfall and Casino Royale were written by the same writers. Quantum of Solace was written by, I believe, a notepad document.
Well, yeah, I think it notes
Mad
from those
Libs.
guys. So that's, I think, everyone is assuming, and the studios kind of hinted that they are going back to, what are these guys' names?
Yeah, but the gentlemen who wrote Spectre weren't the same ones because, I'm just throwing that out because so many people love Skyfall, but they had a problem with Spectre. Same director. Keep that in mind. That was Sam Mendes.
Yeah.
So, and there was a huge tonal shift. So there are multiple people working on these scripts and working on these productions. So it's not just the director going like, I'm going to make another good one. It's sometimes he's at the mercy of the script. So
and MGM.
Or, so he made the directorial call of, I like this script. It's good, and they went ahead with it. But he also said that was Skyfall, and I thought Skyfall was amazing.
I mean, these franchises are bigger than anyone that works on it. That's why they're still around for 50 years or whatever. So ultimately, it's going to come down to it. I'm super excited about this director.
This is the one-take shot.
This is the 6-minute one take.
I'm never excited about a director having to come in without full prep. Like a really talented director steps in to do it, Joss Whedon in Justice League or whatever. They don't get full prep. They have to basically work off of what's already been done by someone else who they may have no relationship with.
A lot of the previs and design work's probably already done.
Like a Ron Howard situation with
Peter
Solo.
Jackson for The Hobbit.
So that almost never results in something amazing, which is a shame.
Yeah.
I really wish that either Danny Boyle had stayed on or this director had been announced from the very beginning. I'd be excited either way.
Right.
I mean, do you think they're going to ditch a lot of the original stuff, or do you think they're going to start from fresh?
Sounds like they're burning it all down.
Yeah, I think the thought is they're going to ditch what Boyle was cooking up and go back to Neil Purvis and Robert Wade wrote a lot of the recent Bond films, the Craig series of Bond films.
Well, they delayed the release date as well.
Yeah, so it's they're going to start shooting in March with what was the release date? I wrote it down somewhere.
Just check your watch.
Yeah, because it's got a calendar. Sorry.
So release date February 14th, 2020. So it was going to be the end of 2019. Bond movies usually come out in the fall, winter.
Yeah. This is the first one coming out in a February time.
Yeah. So it'll be Valentine's Day movie in 2020. So he has until March to get his shit in order to shoot this huge franchise.
That's rough.
Which this guy, I feel like Fukunaga, he's kind of an auteurish director, or at least seems to be, where he controls so many aspects of the shooting.
He likes dialogue in cars.
Yeah, it might be hard to do in 4 or 5 months.
Great opportunity for him.
But it's also, how much pressure is that? Like, anything between Casino Royale and this one is sort of like up in the air. You're like, we could do whatever we want. There's a little bit of pressure knowing that this is it's not the last one, but it's the end of a chapter. That's,
But if you don't treat it that way, if you just
Hopefully
treat it
not.
like you're going to make a Bond movie, then that would satisfy me, a Bond fan and film fan.
I want to see some huge long take of Bond chasing after some guy.
That would be dope. Have they done that yet?
One long take.
No, not that I know.
Actually they did Spectre at the beginning in the Dia de los Muertos.
Oh, yeah.
But that was kind of like lame a little bit.
It was slow.
I had to look it up. It would have been so fucking cool if David Fincher had done a Bond, because I feel like his pacing and his cinematography.
And you're also like, why would David Fincher do Bond?
That's
Why do you pick these movies?
But he'd already worked with Craig on
Girl Dragon
Tattoo. That would have been so dope.
That actually would have been great. That was like
Cut
when
point.
that's when I got shut up, nerd. That's like when I got excited about Wolverine, and I was like, oh, Darren Aronofsky he worked with Hugh Jackman before in The Fountain. They're back together. Fine. Oh, they're not doing it. Okay, whatever.
We're watching the True Detective scene, and there is no cut there.
Surely there was.
No,
that's not a practical helicopter.
They shot it to use cuts. So there's several moments where they were like, "This is where we'll cut," and they ended up not using any of them because they had one take that had everything they needed.
Chef's kiss.
So that's where they were going to hide a cut, but then the director came out and said, "But we didn't need to because this take worked."
Can you imagine just like the mood on set when they're like, "That's a wrap, everyone!" Like everyone just be like, "God!"
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey would have just been like,
After
"All
doing
right,
it for the fourth
4
time or
days.
whatever. Yeah.
People always give True Detective the love for this. This is like everyone was it like episode 4 or something like that. They're like, make it to episode 4, man. It's a pretty solid season overall. I would say just watch the whole thing. It's also some a lot of good nude scenes. A lot of bare-breasted
Double D Darios.
Yeah.
McConaughey hadn't been a superhero yet. What was he gonna do?
He'll probably be Adam Warlock.
He basically counts. He basically counts in Sahara as being a superhero.
Yeah,
True.
he's been in
Nathan
stuff.
Drake.
But
Well,
I think this guy could do really good work, personally.
I think so too.
fingers are crossed.
I hope that they do what like video game companies do when they just know it's not there. They'll just be like, we're gonna delay. We're gonna take our time, because like I hope that they push, and that they don't have this big schedule to meet. Because I would love for this guy to get the time that he needs on Bond, like Adam was saying.
The odds are in their favor only because every other Bond movie has been the one people like.
Well, I feel like there's a ticking clock with Craig's contract.
He seems very done.
There's probably like a year as well as a number of titles tied to it. So
only so many Heinekens he can drink.
I think this is the last movie he is contractually obligated to do. And it was quoted something as like wanting to slit his wrists rather than play Bond again.
That's good PR for Bond, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's been doing it for over 10 years, and he's just getting older, and he's like, I can't do these stunts anymore. Not that he has to.
I think the quotable part is he would slit his wrists, but I think the actual interview, he's like, because of all the prep work and the stunts, he's like, it's exhausting. It basically ruins me for the whole year.
So they took that little blurb out of the whole thing?
Yeah, I think because he's had to like clarify on that several times.
It's so weird how people just like, with no context or anything, they just put it out there and put it as a headline, and then people don't read the story. Well, who does that, right, guys?
Dang.
Then who remembers just the one part?
Yeah. Even the details. People love details.
People
they
love
love the
details.
full story.
So I think it's good that only 6 months in delay, so that's not too bad. We'll still get one soon.
I live in a world where I
Agreed.
keep getting Bond movies, and I'll never complain about that.
Right.
Right on.
How much time was between the not Pierce Brosnan, is it Pierce? Yeah.
Yep.
Between Pierce and Craig.
Casino Royale. What was it? World is not enough?
Well, yeah.
Die Another Day was the last one.
Yeah.
So was it like
And then it was
only
Casino Royale. I want to say it was 5 years.
So
felt like a
Was
pretty
it
good
what
amount of
2001
time.
and 2006 or something?
Are you okay?
Die Another Day was
2002.
2002.
Like Casino Royale. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2006, 2007, maybe.
Maybe
2002 to
2006.
2006,
Okay.
4 years.
All right.
So 4 year. Are you okay? Because you have a 4-year break coming up.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I mean,
It's a pretty big gap.
Daniel Craig movies have all been all over the place. It used to be that you would get like a Bond movie every other year or something.
Yeah.
But
There was
Daniel Craig,
transitions.
no, I know with him, you're gonna get maybe a higher caliber film, but you got to sit around and wait for it. Just gonna sniff around.
I just hope that they like stick to the quality of the Bond movies and they release them kind of whenever, and that they don't do like we're gonna do a Moneypenny spinoff. Like I feel like every other
They got to bring
company's
back
franchise.
Halle Berry.
Oh, you think they're gonna do a James Bond cinematic universe?
Or like an M movie or a Q movie.
I'm kind of
It's
surprised they
interesting.
haven't tried to do that.
Yeah.
Everyone talking about Idris Elba
as Bond.
and
Bond.
now the director of Beasts of No Nation, starring Idris Elba. Villain.
I'd be that'd be cool.
This movie's really depressing, by the way. If you've never
It's a
seen
movie,
it.
not a show.
No, it's a
Netflix
movie.
movie?
It's
Oh.
fucking
Netflix
awesome, but it will
It's pretty fucking
rip your
sad.
heart out.
Okay.
It looks incredible though.
Yeah.
There's a few things coming to Netflix. Actually, I went and watched some of the trailers. There's Apostle coming out. That's the guy who did the Raid films. It's always weird. It's like those Indonesian films directed by a white guy, like him. He's back, but it's got what's his name? Dan Stevens in it, who plays Legion, who is a fantastic
Love me some
actor.
Dan Stevens.
Yeah, and also Downton Abbey. I guess if you're into that, he used to be fat. He no longer is. But yeah, that's coming to Netflix soon. Actually looks, and then Maniac, which is I think a show, but that looks pretty good too. So there's actually Netflix has been garbage for a while. We did a whole podcast on it, but actually,
They're attaching themselves to interesting filmmakers finally.
yeah.
Have we gotten more clarification on what this movie is? I only saw the first trailer and I thought it was a single. It's not a single
limited
location.
series. I think
It's a series?
It's 8 episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it all like? It seems like it's all in a lab or something. Like you don't really.
Yeah, the first teaser was really ambiguous.
I'm just gonna watch it.
Here's
they're
the
doing
thing.
some sort of drug test.
You know how the film The Predator ripped off Laser Team?
Yeah.
This movie rips off Crunch Time.
Oh, okay. God, I wish you guys had waited a week to talk about the Predator. I saw that dog shit, and I've been listening to the original Predator soundtrack because it just makes me feel like the first one was so good.
It was.
Sorry, we can't talk. We hit our Predator quota for the month.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It's all right.
All right.
We already did it. I'm sorry. If you want to hear that one,
Adam's
watch
calling
last
it.
week's. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
it's okay. It's all right.
We're already going over an hour, which is
Oh,
a
shit.
little long for this.
All right, yeah, let's tie it up. Well, thanks again to Hims. Thank you guys for being here to talk about Quitters. I'm super stoked about this Bond movie.
I'm just watching this trailer. It looks wacky.
I mean, it looks pretty fucking cool.
I'm down.
It comes out. I guess this episode comes out on Friday or Saturday, and this will come out the day before that. So
Oh, neat.
this airs right now. Hopefully, it's cool. Whoa, nice
Jonah
mullet.
Hill with a mullet.
Now they're Lord of the Rings.
I'm in.
Whoa.
What
Yeah, I'm
is
ready.
this?
Yeah,
It looks cool.
Yeah, it does.
It's got some weird retro futurism
Right on.
attached to it. I like
Yeah.
Jonah Hill. He's a great actor. I like Emma Stone.
Sweet. All right.
Single.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I was actually heartbroken to find out that her and Andrew Garfield broke up.
Oh, that's a shame.
I didn't know that. I thought they were still together. I was like, oh, Hollywood power couple.
Yeah, well, they were stressed out too much because Electro dropped her off.
It felt like it was going down the sort of Terminator Aliens sort of thing where the cool thing has already been done with Alien and Terminator. The mystery, the build up, all that fun stuff. Now everyone's like, well, that's it. That's all they do. So they're just sort of diluting the Predator down to its